The Galactic Council chuckled when Earth requested no military seat, no weapons contracts, no fleets in the Defense Pact. Humans are afraid of war, they declared. They weren't wrong. But they never asked what a species does when it's terrified of extinction. Because fear didn't make us surrender. It made us prepare. They laughed when Earth refused a seat on the Galactic Defense Council. Laughed harder when humanity declined weapons-sharing programs. And when the humans proposed a doctrine of silent observation instead of active participation, the laughter turned to mockery. Humans are afraid of war, the Aeron delegate proclaimed, his tendrils twitching with amusement. Let them cling to their soft instincts. Perhaps they can be our archivists, once this galaxy moves beyond violence completely. Ray's Valorian stood still, his arms clasped behind his back, eyes hidden behind a visor that reflected the Council's golden dome. He didn't speak. He never did. Not here. The silence unnerved them more than any argument would. A whisper passed among the Silner diplomats. He's the one from the Red Frost Siege, one said. The Emberborn, another murmured. He's the one who walked out when no one else did. Reyes didn't flinch. Counselor Mariel, a lizard-like Orvilian with jeweled implants on his brow, pointed a clawed finger. Earth abstains from every vote. Refuses shared protocol. And now, they reject the Unity Fleet? Are humans so broken by their history that they fear power? Still, no response. Chairwoman Yulith, the eight-eyed Cephalian at the center of the dais, tried to maintain order. Let us proceed. Earth's position is one of restraint. Perhaps, humility. Reyes tilted his head. One movement. Subtle. Controlled. But every species present recognized the language of predators. He wasn't humbled. He was waiting. The Council dismissed Earth's silence with a wave, thinking themselves enlightened. Sophisticated. Post-violence. But far beyond their reach, on the rim of the galaxy, something stirred. 17 hours later, a distress beacon screamed across Council frequencies. Colony P3-147 had gone dark. Then P3-148. Then 149. One by one, the lights blinked out, not by solar flares or anomalies, by invasion. A name surfaced on encrypted feeds. Not a known Council member. Not even a recognized species. A symbol, black spiral over red, flickered on intercepted transmissions. Reyes watched the report silently from the observation balcony of the Earth Delegation Tower. Behind him, Assistant Lee struggled to contain her nerves. They've breached 6 perimeters. The Virak haven't been seen in over 1,000 years. Council thinks it's myth. Miscommunication. Some say it's just pirates. Reyes spoke at last. It's not. Lee jumped at the gravel in his voice. She hadn't heard it in weeks. You know them? I buried friends in their wake, he said. What do we do? He turned slowly. We prepare. Should I inform the Council? They've made their stance clear. He stepped forward, boots clicking on the polished obsidian floor. They believe humanity fears war. Let them. But... He raised a hand. She stopped. He spoke again, slower this time. We do fear war. That's why we studied it. Became intimate with it. Learned how to fold it into science. To tame it. To weaponize our fear itself. Another transmission came in. A Virak fleet had consumed a trade route. Organic vessels leaving behind asteroid fields of molten bone and slagged steel. The Council met in emergency session. For once, the laughter was gone. They shouted for coordination. For calm. For diplomacy. They begged for an envoy to be sent. We don't negotiate with hunger, Reyes said. Chairwoman Yulith looked down on him. Earth is a minor species. You've never faced a true galactic threat. No, he said. We've only faced extinction 5 times on our own soil. We didn't crawl into Unity through friendship. We survived the ice collapse, the Martian core rebellion, the Saturn drift wars, and Project Lazarus. We don't sing about it. We build for it. The Aeron delegate sneered. You built fear into your culture. No, Reyes replied. We built defense into our bones. At that, he pulled a small black cube from his coat and placed it on the central podium. It unfolded once, revealing nothing. The council leaned forward. Ember Protocol Code Prime, Reyes said. The cube lit up red. Quietly. It sent no transmission. Made no sound. It was not meant to. And that silence was far louder than the council chambers had ever been. Across the void, Earth's defense grid lit up. Not with sirens, but with movement. Civilian ships and dock folded inward and vanished into black space. Orbital platforms revealed hidden weapon arrays. Satellite networks rearranged into geometric formations resembling ancient runes. The council gasped. You activated war protocols? Rey's voice was low. Controlled. We removed ourselves from your protection matrix. We will not ask your permission to defend our species. The Orvilian counselor bared his teeth. You'll provoke them further. They're not provoked, Reyes said. They're hungry. You are prey. We are not. The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates argued. Threatened. Demanded Reyes be removed. But then came the scream. An emergency override transmission. Raw, uncensored footage. The Vieirac weren't just invading. They were assimilating. Colonies turned silent because their populations were digested into hive clusters. The footage showed one soldier being consumed mid-sentence, his neural core yanked out like thread. All arguing stopped. Reyes stepped forward. You think humans fear war? We do. But that fear didn't make us weak. It made us meticulous. Obsessive. We didn't build fleets to boast. We built them to remain silent, until the only sound left was the sound of fire. Chairwoman Yulith tried to steady her voice. And what is it you intend to do, Commander Valorian? He looked up for the first time. Full eye contact. His visor retracted, revealing a scarred face, a metal ring grafted into his temple. Coded command access to Earth's hidden war systems. We'll show them, he said, what it looks like when the only species that mastered fear decides to fight like it has nothing left to lose. He tapped the cube again. It pulsed once more, this time brighter. Far above, a slumbering fleet awoke, each ship named after fallen Earth cities. Each hull engraved with the names of extinct cultures. Silent. Efficient. Terrifying. The cube clicked shut. The last thing Reyes said before leaving the chamber was simple. We didn't come here to fight. But we'll be the last ones standing when you finally remember how. The Vieirac didn't arrive with warnings. They descended like infection, no demands, no messages, only silence followed by planetary blackouts. First the mining colonies in the Vorga Belt. Then trade stations near Tau Cygni. Then an entire moon city on Graven Prime. Within 72 hours, 6 populated systems went dark. The Council called it a crisis. Earth called it the signal. Reyes Valorian didn't wait for authorization. He never had. As he entered the Earth Command vault buried beneath the surface of Europa's moon, the retinal scanner chirped once before unlocking. Inside, walls pulsed with cold light. Dormant systems hummed awake. An old voice spoke from the core panel. Authorization, Ember Protocol? Rey's voice was steady. Confirmed. Elevate to prime burn level. Ember Prime unlocked. Stand by for ignition cascade. Across 100 hidden listening posts, Earth's shadow fleets began to stir. In the silence of the Kuiper outpost, cloaked ships turned toward Vieirac space. Orbital mines reactivated. The Earthborn Legion, long thought disbanded, received the same encrypted transmission simultaneously. The Council has failed. We begin. Back on the Council floor, panic had replaced arrogance. The Cephalian chairwoman demanded emergency deliberation. We must reach out. Open diplomatic corridors. The Vieirac may yet be reasoned with. No, they won't, Reyes said, stepping forward. They do not speak. They consume. You had 3 days to act. You chose to debate while millions were digested. The Orvilian delegate slammed a scaled fist. You have no mandate, human! You have no authority to act on behalf of the galactic defense. I don't need your mandate, Reyes replied. We're not here to protect your systems. We're here to keep you from dragging ours into the grave. You'll provoke them, a Carthan ambassador hissed. We're past provocation, he said. We're the cure you're too afraid to administer. One of the council aides whispered something to the chairwoman. She paled. A new message had come through. Unfiltered Virac footage from within a downed research vessel. The image flickered, the interior of a lab covered in biological matter, flesh grown over steel. A Virac construct turned to the camera. Half machine, half skeletal horror, it opened a toothless maw and spoke one sentence, translated by ship AI. Your history is our meal. Your weapons are our bones. Your minds are next. The video cut out. Reyes didn't gloat. He simply held up a datapad. A projection displayed a single line, Project Grave Dust, 0% deployment. We've done nothing yet, he said. The council chamber filled with overlapping voices, arguing, bargaining, screaming. Some begged Earth to reconsider. Others threatened sanctions. One tried to submit a motion to block all human military transmissions. Reyes didn't respond. He walked out. As he entered the command deck aboard the Eidolon Wraith, the flagship of Earth's stealth division, the crew saluted. No fanfare. Just soldiers who knew what was coming. Report, he ordered. His executive officer, Captain Lyra Hesse, responded instantly. 32 Ghost-class vessels online. Ember grid nodes syncing. Blacklight weapons calibrated. AI overlays stable. Enemy location? 3 jumps from Elton's grave. 13 Virac carriers. 5 swarm clusters. Planetfall in 14 hours. Redirect everything to intercept, Reyes said. No survivors. Sir, that system is Council territory. Not anymore. The Council forfeited it when they chose to watch it burn. Hesse hesitated. What if we're wrong? We're not, Reyes said. But if we are, history can bury me. After we win. The fleet vanished into fold space. Invisible to detection. Silent to all sensors. Earth didn't send armies. It sent phantoms. Where other species fought openly, humanity fought surgically. Strike. Silence. Disappear. The Virac never saw them coming. As they began to deploy over Elton's grave, expecting resistance from pitiful planetary defenses, the first signal came. It wasn't a weapon. It was a virus. Digital, psychological, emotional. A full archive of Earth's darkest history beamed into their networks. Every war, every genocide, every act of cruelty and brilliance. The Virac hive mind experienced the collapse of ancient Earth empires, the firebombing of cities, the silence of nuclear nights. Then came the attack. From the black of space, kinetic harpoons pierced their command ships. Boarding pods followed. Humans in adaptive suits moved like shadows. No shouting. No taunts. Just surgical elimination. Swarm drones turned on each other. Engines reversed gravity. AI subroutines disintegrated in code storms. The Virac retaliated, but they couldn't see what they were fighting. Their weapons hit empty space. Their own systems turned traitor. Their minds, shared through the hive, were overwhelmed by emotion they never evolved to process. Fear. From orbit, the Eidolon Wraith launched the final protocol. Burn chain active. Hesse confirmed. Detonate on my mark. Reyes ordered. 3, 2. Wait. The command deck froze. I want them to know it's us. He opened a channel. No encryption. Just clarity. Every Virac mind within the system heard it. I am Reyes Valorian. Human. The one you dismissed. You wanted a galaxy without resistance. Now you'll learn what a prepared prey species can do when it stops running. Then he said one word. Now. The sky bloomed fire. The entire Virac cluster disintegrated in a precision wave of molecular destabilizers. technology outlawed by the Council centuries ago. Earth never discarded it. Just hid it. The silence that followed was not peaceful. It was stunned. The Council received no formal report. Only footage. Unfiltered. Terrifying. Efficient. The Vieirac had taken a world. Earth had taken it back. Without permission. Without support. Without casualties. On the council floor the next day, not a single delegate made eye contact with Reyes when he entered. The room was silent as the grave. Chairwoman Yulith tried to speak, but her voice cracked. You did this alone? No, Reyes said. I brought my fear with me. And we made it a weapon. You've destabilized galactic law. No, he said. I reminded you that peace is a luxury earned, not a default setting. The Orvilian delegate asked the question everyone was too afraid to voice. What if you turn that weapon on us? Reyes turned calm and final. Then you'll learn what real fear looks like. The Vieirac hive world was a scar across the stars, a web of pulsing flesh and twisted alloy spiraling around a dying star. No atmosphere. No diplomacy. Just consumption. They didn't conquer, they devoured. The Eidolon wraith hovered in orbit like a phantom blade, cloaked beneath a gravitational shroud. Reyes Valorian stood on the central deck, locked into his exosuit. The neurorig hummed against his spine. Captain Hessa stood beside him, scanning the projected intel on the Vieirac formation. They've clustered their main mine nodes on the eastern hemisphere. Shielded. Organic armor fused with radiation fields. No gaps. Don't look for gaps, Reyes said. We'll make one. She nodded. Wraith AI is locked in. The virus is synced. But once we upload it, we burn the bridge behind us. He finished. That's the point. He walked to the drop bay. Dozens of shock troopers in black armor lined the sides. None saluted. They didn't need to. They followed him because he always came back. Or made sure no one else did. A technician approached, holding a small canister. Sir, the basilisk core. Reyes took it without hesitation. The canister contained an artificial neuromorphic virus, a living weapon encoded with Earth's entire history of trauma. Not to kill. To infect the Vieirac hive network and make them feel everything. All at once. This isn't vengeance, Reyes said, addressing the troops. This is biology. We're giving them what they lack. We're not the monsters here. We're the answer. The drop began. Silence. Descent through blackness. The Vieirac defense grid activated too late. Kinetic spears broke their organic shielding like glass. Human pods slammed into the outer crust, unfolding into fortified trenches within seconds. Reyes moved like a storm. He didn't bark orders. His team operated in sync, wired through quantum comms, executing protocols he drilled into them long before the mission. Vieirac drones surged from the tunnels. Tall, sinewy things with exposed brain cords and blade limbs. They screamed in harmonic frequencies meant to paralyze prey. But the humans were shielded with neural dampeners and countersonic emitters. One soldier fired a micropulse into a drone's eye cluster. Another used grav clamps to rip it in half. No hesitation. No wasted motion. Reyes advanced toward the hive spine. His HUD flickered, massive psionic activity. The central node was responding. The Queen Mind. Inside the nerve hall, pulsating with translucent membranes and living circuitry, he reached the core. He could feel its psychic pressure trying to reach into him, scrape thoughts, unravel his purpose. He stood before the throne of a species that had never once known empathy or memory. They didn't understand loss, or fear, or consequence. They understood only consumption. He opened the basilisk canister. The virus unfolded like a flower of obsidian light, strings of encoded pain floating midair, searching. The Queen Mind shrieked. Its body writhed in the ceiling, trying to withdraw. But it was too late. Reyes stepped forward and placed the virus into the core interface. It entered the system instantly. Earth's entire archive of suffering, war, genocide, betrayal, desperation, rage, compressed into psychic code, spread like wildfire. The Queen screamed again, but now it was different. Not just sonic. Emotional. The pain hit the hive like a thunderclap. Drones dropped their weapons and began convulsing. Hive structures twisted violently. The network turned inward. In orbit, Captain Hessa watched the signal feed spike. They're broadcasting confusion. Terror. Suicide protocols activating across their fleet. The rest of the Council fleets watching from a distance opened private comms. What are we seeing? Asked the Cephalian admiral. Hell, Hessa answered. Human-designed hell. Delivered intravenously. Down below, Reyes stood alone as the hive collapsed around him. The virus didn't destroy the Vierak. It infected their understanding. Made them see the universe as humans did. For the first time, they recognized mortality. He didn't move. He wanted them to see him. To know him. The last voice in their heads before everything fell apart. You shouldn't have come here, he said quietly. We feared war. That's why we made fear into a scalpel. A tendril of the Queen lashed toward him, but it missed. The hive was spasming, choking on 1,000 years of emotional data. It couldn't think. Couldn't process. Reyes walked to the center throne, placed a beacon, and activated the final command. Eidolon, burn it! In space, the stealth fleet revealed itself. Dozens of warships unfolded from subspace cloaks, weapons aimed at the core. They fired as one. No explosions. No flames. Just quiet erasure. Molecular destabilizers unraveled the Vierak hive into dust. Not even debris remained. Only the silence. Reyes' beacon transmitted one message back to the Council. Threat neutralized. Fear calibrated. You're welcome. Aboard the Eidolon Wraith, Hessa watched the live feed fade to black. Retrieval? Reyes' voice came through. Negative. I'm staying. She flinched. Sir? This ends with them. Let the galaxy remember what happened here. Not just the Vierak. But who did it? Silence. Then the feed went dead. Back on the Council, no one knew how to respond. Delegates stared at the footage, horrified not just at the destruction, but at how clean it had been. Efficient. Clinical. Terrifying. Chairwoman Yulith finally spoke. He did it alone. No, said the Carthan diplomat. He did it with everything humanity ever feared. The Orvilian delegate whispered what others dared not. And if they use that fear on us? No one answered. Because they already knew. They wouldn't see it coming. There was no announcement. No declaration of victory. Just a silent data packet that pinged every terminal in the Galactic Council at the same time. One line of text unsigned. The Vierak hive has been neutralized. You're welcome. No fanfare. No medal ceremony. Just silence. The kind that settles when everyone knows something irreversible has happened. Chairwoman Yulith sat motionless in the Council dome, her hands trembling over the console. Did we authorize this? No, murmured the Cephalian Anva. Earth didn't wait for permission. They committed genocide, whispered an Orvilian diplomat. They ended extinction, corrected another. The delegates spoke in hushed tones, but none could meet each other's eyes. The footage had circulated faster than any formal report, unfiltered visuals of the hive's final collapse, the psychic shriek of the Vierak Queen as she experienced, in one terminal moment, the totality of human fear. They had all watched it. Alone, in locked chambers, as millions of Vierak drones spasmed and turned their claws upon themselves, not from weaponry, but from horror. Fear had become the weapon. And humanity its architect. A slow clapping echoed through the chamber as a new figure stepped into view. Reyes Valorian. Alive. No wounds, no fanfare. Just the same grim calm and steel gaze. He walked to the center platform as security stood paralyzed. Not one of them moved. Not one dared to interrupt. He placed a black cube on the council dais. It activated with a pulse of red, casting holographic visuals above the assembly. It wasn't battle footage. It was a list, names of Council planets saved from invasion. Civilian death counts 0. Recovery efforts underway. Human relief ships already deployed. You're afraid, Reyes said, voice steady, eyes unblinking. But not of the Vierak. Not anymore. No one spoke. You're afraid of us. Yulith finally summoned the courage to respond. You went beyond your jurisdiction. You acted without a council vote, without diplomatic channels. I acted while you debated, Reyes cut in. While you issued sanctions, we issued mobilization orders. While you built language, we built contingency. You called us primitive because we remembered how to bleed. Fear is not a virtue, Mariel hissed. No, Reyes agreed. But fearlessness? That's suicidal. He pressed a button on the cube. A new image appeared, an old Earth battlefield. Cities in ruin. Soldiers carrying wounded children across fire. The aftermath of humanity's own darkest hours. This is what taught us, Reyes continued. We weren't born for war. We were refined by it. And when we finally climbed out of our own grave, we promised one thing: we would never be prey again. Not to monsters. Not to arrogance. Yulith leaned forward, voice shaking. What do you want, Commander? I want nothing, Reyes replied. But Earth wants you to understand what changed today. You thought we were afraid of war. We are. That's why we trained for it longer than any of you dreamed possible. We didn't build weapons to flex. We built them to wait. Because we knew, eventually, someone would forget why we feared in the first place. He paced slowly, hands behind his back. War isn't an art for us. It's not ritual. It's not glory. It's a scalpel. And you just watched us use it. A cold silence swept the chamber. The Carthan envoy cleared his throat. You risked destabilizing every system in this galaxy. I didn't destabilize anything, Reyes said. The Vierak did. I just stabilized it before the infection spread. And the next time? Someone asked quietly. What happens when Earth decides it doesn't like a policy? Or a planet? Reyes looked around the room. He saw no warriors. Just survivors of peace who had never earned it. Diplomats raised in luxury, protected by a structure they no longer understood. We didn't fight for dominance, he said. We fought for survival. And now we offer you the same gift. Yulith narrowed her eyes. A gift? Reyes tapped the cube again. This time, what appeared was not war footage, but schematics. Technology never shared before. Human neuroweapon interceptors. Biofeedback shields. Trauma-calibrated AI defense models. Humanity proposes a doctrine of fear preparedness, Reyes stated. Not for control. For preservation. Every species that joins will receive our deterrence systems. Our threat models. Our archives. And those that refuse? Asked Mariel. Refusal isn't war, Reyes said. But neither is safety. A vote was unnecessary. Every delegate in that room already understood what had changed. The Council no longer ruled Earth. Earth had outgrown them, not through conquest, but by necessity. While they worshipped peace, humans trained in shadows, preparing for the day peace failed. That day had come. Reyes turned to leave. Where will you go? Yulith asked. Home, he said. To make sure this doesn't happen again. He paused at the threshold. Let today be your lesson. We feared war. That's why we became its master. So you wouldn't have to. And with that, he was gone. The Council didn't dissolve that day. It transformed. Not through vote or declaration, but through silence. Every chamber now echoed with one truth. Humanity had saved them. And now, they would never stop watching. The message came not through official Council channels, but as a silent override, broadcast to every species, every screen, every data port across known space. No encryption. No watermark. Just the image of a man standing alone in a darkened room, a single beam of white light catching the edge of his crimson cloak. "I am Commander Reyes Valorian of Earth," the voice began. "You've seen what we did. You've drawn your conclusions. Let me tell you mine." He stepped forward, not with aggression, but with the chilling composure of someone who had walked through death and come out the other side quieter, sharper. He wasn't broadcasting to intimidate. He was teaching. War is not something we romanticize. It is not a rite of passage. It is not a performance for pride. For humans, war is a consequence. The final language of a species that has exhausted every other word. You assumed we feared it. You were right. But you never asked why. Behind him, the projection changed. Not of battle. Not destruction. But of children, starving during the ash famine. Cities abandoned during the lunar collapse. Footage of human soldiers refusing to fire during the Mars civil reckoning. Not all war was carnage. Some of it was restraint. We fear war because we remember it. Because it stains every inch of our history. Because we know what it costs. We buried our peace under billions of graves until we finally asked, what if we don't survive the next one? So we prepared. Not for conquest. But for the moment everyone else forgets why war must be avoided. The feed flickered again. The Iraq hive drones collapsing. Ships tearing themselves apart. Not from weapons, but from memory. From empathy they'd never evolved to withstand. That was Earth's innovation, not explosives, but the weaponization of perspective. You thought strength meant never flinching. We learned strength meant knowing when to. Reyes turned to face the camera fully. His eyes were tired. Honest. There was no threat behind them. But there was a promise. You are alive today because Earth was willing to become the thing you pretended could never return. We were your mirror, and what you saw terrified you. He leaned slightly forward. Good. Across a dozen systems, council delegates sat frozen. Civilians watched in silence. Military strategists downloaded the feed without commentary. No one interrupted. No one mocked. No one moved. This isn't a declaration of dominance. It's a warning, he said. The galaxy changed. We don't demand obedience. We don't demand tribute. We demand readiness. He gestured once, and the projection displayed schematics. Plans for joint training academies, shared defense systems, rapid response protocols. The kind of hard discipline Earth had drilled into itself for centuries. We are offering fear back to you. Fear that makes you build. Fear that makes you prepare. Because there will be another threat. One worse than the Iraq. One that doesn't care about your diplomacy or treaties or votes. And when it comes, we will not have the luxury of disbelief again. He stopped. Let the words sit. Then, for the first time, the expression changed. Not cold. Not hard. But personal. When I was 17, I watched my mother die in the solstice riots. Not from a weapon. From inaction. A dozen military ships hovered in orbit. No one gave the order. No one wanted the responsibility. Everyone was afraid of starting something irreversible. So no one moved. He blinked once. That day taught me something. War doesn't start when someone fires the first shot. It starts when everyone refuses to stop the first blow. He stepped back. The screen faded to black. Then a final line of text appeared, across every language in the galaxy. You may choose peace. But you no longer choose blindness. Transmission ended. The following week, the Council voted to ratify the Ember Doctrine, a collective defense pact based not on trust, but on transparency and readiness. Earth would lead. Not by title, but by precedent. Silent approval followed. No protests. No opposition. Just quiet compliance. In the Carthan system, an old admiral lit a ceremonial flame and whispered, "We just saw a god walk into a room full of cowards." In the Drelic quadrant, news analysts debated if Earth's message was political or prophetic. They never agreed. But none dared mock it. On a backwater station, A young student watched the footage 3 times in a row before turning to her father. Were humans always this dangerous? No, the father said, eyes locked on the screen. They were always this ready. Meanwhile, on Earth, Reyes Valorian removed his cloak and stepped into the old steel bunker beneath the Andes. He walked the corridor alone. Not to command. Not to give speeches. But to build the next war scenario. Because he knew the Veyrac wouldn't be the last. As he passed the wall of names, those lost and past conflicts, he placed his hand over a single one. Elias Valorian. His brother. Dead on Titan. They never knew, he murmured. But you did. Behind him, the lights pulsed, systems hummed, simulations updated. Outside, the stars spun quietly. And Earth kept watching.